Sarvebhyaha namaskaraha bhavatam sarvesham hardam swagatam. We'll start the class by chanting the Prarthana Shlokas. Krishno rakshadumam chara chara kuruhu Krishnan namasyamyaham Krishne namara shatravo vinihataha Krishnaya tasmai namaha Krishna deva samuthidam jagatidam Krishnasya dasosmyaham Krishne bhaktira chanchalasto bhagavan He Krishna tubhyan namaka prapanna parijataya totra vetraika panaye jnana mudraya Krishnaya Gitamrtatuhe namaka vasudeva sutan devam kamsa chanura mardanam devaki paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagat Gurum Sarvesham Punaswagatam. So we'll make a quick recap of what we told yesterday, quickly. So in this very short chapter, Bhagavan is explaining about the material world, that is our world, more vividly, so that Arjuna can understand it better. So Krishna compares the material world that we are living in to an upside down Ashwatha tree. Ashwatha tree, you know, this is a fig tree that roots come from the top, so that the head is at the top. So here the head is at the top, that is the originator, that is Brahman is at the top. Like in any company or something, you can see the CEO will be at the top. And then below him there will be managers and assistants and all that. So there will be a tree will be there. So like this, in this tree, upside down tree, that is the root is the origin is Brahman, that is the Ishvara. So Krishna compares this world, material world, to upside down fig tree. On the branches of this tree, this is symbolic tree. The symbolized souls. Our souls wander up and down from lifetime to lifetime. We move around from lifetime to lifetime. Here and there we run around. They are unable to comprehend its origin and age expands or how it continues to grow. So as God is the source of this tree, its roots face upwards towards the sky. Its leaves are the fruitive activities. That is the result-producing activities defined in the Vedas, and the three gunas irrigate this tree, which creates the objects of the senses that are like buds on the tree branches. Everything, whatever happens in life, is compared to what's happening in the tree. So these buds sprout aerial roots again, how the life is growing, and that further propagate the Ashwatha tree to over a larger area. How it goes on expanding. Similarly, the material world also, they are expanding like that. So by describing in detail the symbolism of the upside down tree, Ashwatha tree, this chapter conveys the concept of how in ignorance of this tree of material existence, the embodied souls like us keep growing their bondage in the material world. So Sri Krishna declares that if we are searching for the Supreme Lord, if that is our goal of our search, then we must first cut this tree of material existence with the acts of detachment. So what makes it grow is the gunas, which is giving more and more chances for getting bondage, more and more getting bonded to this world. So we should cut that tree with the acts of detachment. Then we must look for its base, because Supreme Lord himself is the source of the material world as well. He is the source of everything. So we should look at the extreme root, top root. We have to go and see Brahman is there. Once we find the source and surrender to him, we will reach the abode of God forever. So further Krishna says that the souls are also divine fragments, that what we are having, the souls in us, also divine fragments, but they are under the influence of material nature, because we have fallen into this material world. So we are in the influence of the material nature. The embodied soul is ignorant of its divine nature, and enjoys the material objects of the senses. He describes the transmigration of the soul to a new body at the time of death, and how it carries with it the mind and senses from the present and previous lives. So once at the time of death, the mind as well as the senses, that subtle body, is carried from one body to another physical body, and this continues. So the ignorant cannot perceive the soul in the body when alive or its departure at death. But yogis see the process. God is everywhere in his creation. One needs to use the eyes of knowledge here to realize his presence. So this is how the tree of life grows, by being in bondage, by being in the influence of the Prakriti, and we get bonded and we continue to grow, and without knowing what's happening. We grow from one birth to another birth, and we go on being unknowingly we succumb to everything. So this is what Bhagavan says here. So now here further continues the same this on the same lines. He continues here. We'll continue with this third sloka. Narupamasye tatopalapyate nanto na chadirna cha sampradishtha ashvattamenam suvirudhamulam asanga shastrena dridhena chitva tatah padam tatparimargitavyam yasmingatana nivartanti bhuyaha tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravrittif prasrita purani. So here Bhagavan says, we have 15.3 and 15.4 we have combined because they give the same. It is not ending here, this sloka, continuing there. So the real form of this narupa masyeka tathopa labhyade, the real form of this tree is not perceived. It's not available to us in this world. Neither its end, na anto, na chadi, nor the end, nor the beginning, nor its existence. Nothing is known, nothing is available. So, but this deep-rooted Ashwatha tree, Subirudha Moolam, Ashwathamenam Subirudha Moolam, that is this deep-rooted Ashwatha tree, Asanga Shastrena. Asanga means detachment. Sangam means attaching. Asanga Shastrena, that is by the acts of detachment, we must cut it. Dridhena Chitva, that is one must search of the base of the tree. The Ashwatha tree must be cut down with a strong acts of detachment. Having cut down the tree with the acts of detachment, it continues. Then one must search at the base of the tree. Tadah padam tatpari margitavyam. Base of the tree, which is the Supreme Lord, from where comes tameva chatyam purusham pravatya yatah pravartif prasrita purani, which is the Supreme Lord. That root is Supreme Lord, from where comes forth the activity of the universe. Pravarti, a long time ago, this pravarti is coming from that root. And upon taking refuge in him, we will not return to the world again. Yasmin gada na nivartanti bhuyaha. After going there, we will not come back to this world. So this is the two stanzas are combined. The meaning is combined. So here, Bhagavan says, here, once again, of course, there is a lot of meanings are there, but this is the very, very very succinctly, very briefly, this is the meaning of this sloka. So having cut the tree with detachment, acts of detachment, we will attain the Brahman, from where everything has started, from everything comes. And once we reach there, we will never be returning back to this world. You continue.
Nagamani Bhagini.
Narupamasyeka tathopalapyate.
Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate.
Nanto na chadirna cha sampratishtha.
Nanto na chadirna cha sampratishtha. Nanto na chadirna cha sampratishtha.
Ashvathamenam suvirudhamulam.
Ashvathamenam suvirudhamulam. Ashvathamenam suvirudhamulam.
Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva.
Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva.
Tatah padantat parimarkitavyam.
Tatah padantat parimartadav. Tatah padantat parimargitavyam.
Margitavyam.
Astu bhav. Tatah padantat parimargitavyam.
Yasmin gata nanivartanti bhuyaha.
Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha.
Tameva chatyam purusham prapadye.
Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye.
Yatah pravrittif prasrita purani.
Yatah pravrittif prasudha purani. Yatah pravrittif prasudha purani.
Prasruta purani.
Yatah pravrittif prasruta purani.
Uttam.
Dhanyawad.
Padma Jagan Bhagini.
Narupamasyeha tathopanaphyate.
Narupamasyeha tatopalapyate. Narupamasyeha tatopalapyate.
Nanto na chadirna cha sampratishtha.
Nanto na chadirna cha sampradishta. Nanto na chadirna cha sampradishta.
Ashvathamenam suvidudhamulam.
Ashvathamenam suvirudamulam. Ashvathamenam suvirudamulam.
Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva.
Asanga shastrena trudena chitva. Asanga shastrena trudena chitva.
Tatah padantat parimargitavyam.
Tatah padantat parimargidavyam. Tatah padantat parimargidavyam.
Yasmin gata nanivartanti bhuyaha.
Yasmin gadana nivartanti bhuyaha. Yasmin gadana nivartanti bhuyaha.
Tameva chatyam purusham prapadye.
Tameva chatyam purusham prabhadye. Tameva chatyam purusham prabhadye.
Yatah pravrittif prasrita purani.
Yatah pravrittif prasruta purani. Yatah pravrittif prasruta purani.
Vinoda Bhagini.
Narupamasyeha tathopalapyate. Nanto na chadirna cha sampradishtha.
Narupamasyeha tathopalabhyate. Nanto na chadirna cha sampratishta. न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च
प्रतिष्ठा
सम्प्रतिष्ठा
अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा
अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः
यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी
यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणे यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणे
उत्तम
Anasuya Bhagini.
न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा
रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी
ततः पदन्न तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणी ततः पदन्न तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
ततः पदं
ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणी
उत्तम
धन्यवादः
Lakshmi HS Bhagini.
रूपमस्येक तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी
रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी
उत्तम
Raghunath Mahodaya.
न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी.
Uttam.
Dhanyavad.
The next sloka. So here is the fifth sloka. So who gains mukti or moksha? Here, nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sanyai gacchantya padamavyayantat. So here, the seeker seeking refuge in Ishvara should have qualifications. So first qualification is absence or at least reduction of the sense of I and mine. That's reduction of that feeling, nirmana moha. And second, focus on where he is stuck in the attachment to the world, where he is getting attached to this world. He must focus on that. So this thing, after searching, we find that the seeker is attached to his body, and the consequent fear of death is a toughest attachment. That is attached to body, and the fear of death is the toughest attachment. Then we can focus on the main goal, absorption in self, that is adhyatma nitya, jita sanga doshaha. So attachments, all the attachments we can, all those doshas we can reduce or remove. Then adhyatma nitya, we can focus on the main goal, adhyatma nitya, that is focus, that is the absorption in the self, and then be vigilant in labeling the pairs, that is vinivritta kamaha. So that is all getting all these desires, removing all desires, then concentrating on the these pairs of opposites. So labeling the pairs like dukkha, dvandva, that is the opposites, pairs of opposites. We should concentrate on where we are getting this liking, disliking, pain, success, defeat, or sukha, dukkha, all that. So concentrate on the pairs of opposites, like, dislikes, joy, sorrow, praise, sensual, etc., and just observe the opposites silently. Dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sanyai. So just observe those pairs of opposites, and this will enable us to remove ignorance of of our true nature. So observe the opposites very, very silently. Let them come and go. Just observe. So this will enable us to remove the ignorance of our true nature. Mind becomes pure and pure and gains access to Atman and gets fixed to the Atman. Gacchantya mudhaha. So padamavyayantad, it will obtain the fixed on the Atman. So this is what one says in this. Nirmana moha jidasanga doshaha. So who will attain mukti? So one has to work on oneself to get it that to reach that final state. So we'll continue here. Jidasanga doshaha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimukta sukha. Here is will come. There is a sakara is coming. Sukha dukkha sanyai gacchantya mudhaah padamavyayantat. Wherever there is this anuswara or the visarga comes, there will be to connect them together in a pada. So mudhaah, here the vadmanya, padamavyayantat. Continue.
Devi Chitra Bhagini.
Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्कदोषाः निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्कदोषाः
Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha.
आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञै
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गै द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता
द्वन्द्वैर्
द्वन्द्वैर् द्वन्द् द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गै द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गै
गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्
गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत् गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्
पदमव्ययं तत्
गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत् गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
Here there will be sanyaihi, there will be visarga will be there here, which is missing here, but we can add here. Sukha dukkha sanyaihi. So we will chant with the visarga, though it is not here in this. We'll continue.
Anita Bhagini.
Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha.
निर्वाणमोहे जितसंगदोषा निर्वाणमोहे जितसंगदोषा
Adhyatmanitya vinivritta kamaha.
आत्मा नित्ये विनिवृत्तकामः आत्मा नित्ये विनिवृत्तकामः
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःख संज्ञैः
द्वन्द्वैर् विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंगैः द्वन्द्वैर् मुक्ता विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंगैः
गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्
गच्छन्ते मूढा प्रवद अभ्यन्तं तथा गच्छन्ते मूढा पदम् अभ्यं तथा.
धन्यवादः.
Padma Vishwanathan Bhagini.
मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृद्धकामाः निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृद्धकामाः
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत् द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
उत्तमम्.
Ilavarasi Bhagini.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्
द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत् द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः सङ्कैः कक्षन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
उत्तम.
Thank you.
लक्ष्मी किरण भगिनी.
निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
उत्तम.
सपना भगिनी.
निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसङ्गैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्.
सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः. I heard
सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः.
उत्तम. उत्तम. Well done. न तत् भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. So here Bhagavan says that the sun illumines after reaching the refuge in Ishvara. He says there is no sun, moon or fire or no source of light in the supreme abode. Na tat bhasayate suryaha na shanko na bhavakaha. So there is no light like Surya or anything there. There is nothing to see. The sun, moon and fire have symbolic interpretations. The sun presides over our intellect. The moon, our mind and emotions, and fire, our physiological functions, our bodily functions. Fire is, you can see that fire is, that is heat and cold. These are important for us, for the livelihood. So these are all, they got symbolic meaning in that. The sun presides over the intellect, the moon over the mind and the emotions. But one who has sought refuge in Ishvara automatically gives up affinity to his body, mind and intellect, ego, which resides in the intellect, and physiological functions. The person who has sought refuge in Ishvara, yes, he gives up his affinity for that. He maintains them, but he has no affinity for them. He gives up everything. If this affinity, the root cause of all our sorrow, is given up, this affinity towards these things given up, such a person will never again be caught on the wheel of birth and death in the cycle of samsara. This is liberation. That is liberation. This is what Bhagavan says here. So in this thing that it is not illuminated by sun, Surya, Shashi, or the moon or fire. It is Bhagavan's abode. So it is got its own luminance. So yadgatva nanivartante. After reaching there, one never returns back to the worldly life. Continue.
Vatsala Bhagini.
Natad bhasayate suryaha.
Natat bhasayate suryaha. Natat bhasayate suryaha.
Na shashanko na pavakaha.
Na shashanko na pavakaha. Na shashanko na pavakaha.
Yadgatva na nivartante.
Yadgatva na nivartante. Yadgatva na nivartante.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tathama paramam mama. Tathama paramam mama.
Uttam.
Pushpa Bhagini.
Na tad bhasayate suryaha na shashanko na pavakaha.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः
Yat gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama.
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम
Gholak Mahodaya.
Na tad bhasayate suryaha na shashanko na pavakaha.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः
Yat gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama.
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम
Uttam.
Kanchana Bhagini.
Na tad bhasayate suryaha na shashanko na pavakaha yat gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम
Uttam. Uttam.
Meenakshi Bhagini.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम
Raghunath Mahodaya.
न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम
Uttam. Then next, Jivatman is defined in this. What is Jivatman? Is the soul. That is, all of us are Jivatmans. Mamai vamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So here, Bhagavan says, an eternal portion of myself. Bhagavan's portion, Bhagavan, eternal portion of myself, having become the jiva in the world of jivas. Jiva bhuta sanatana. Having become a jiva in the world of jivas, attracts the senses with the mind as the sixth. 5 indriyas are, we know, jnanendriyas, eyes, nose, etc. 5 plus mind, 6, abiding in Prakriti. Prakriti sthani karshati. So abiding in Prakriti, though a portion of Bhagavan is become the jiva in this world of jivas and attracts senses and also with the mind as the 6th sense, and it abides in the Prakriti or established Prakriti. So eternal portion of myself, having become the jiva or individual soul, it draws itself to the mind and the 5 senses established in Prakriti. So established Prakriti, it draws these portion of Bhagavan becoming jiva and attracts these 6 senses. So far we saw the state of individuals who strive for liberation. Now, Sri Krishna says about jivas or individual souls who are stuck in samsara, who are getting stuck in samsara. So jiva, ignorant of its true nature. So it's a portion of Bhagavan himself, but it forgets its true nature, develops selfish desires with the aim of removing its finitude. So it feels it is incomplete. It gets attracted to something. It wants to attain something to make it complete. It always feels that it's incomplete. So it wants to make it complete. So it goes out and searches for things to make it complete. So it contacts and transacts with Prakriti. It contacts and transacts with Prakriti using the Indriyas and the mind. The means for that are the mind and the five senses to contact with the Prakriti. So Jiva attracts these six aspects of Prakriti to itself. These six aspects is these Indriyas, five Indriyas, and the Manas attaches. So this is the Jiva is having these six Indriyas with which it makes contact with the Prakriti and interacts with the Prakriti. So because of one's identification with the Prakriti, the Jivatman is termed as Karta, the agent, and Bhogin, the one who enjoys, is termed as Karta because of association with the Prakriti. When these limiting secondary things are eliminated, the Atman is in his original state. These things are removed, the Atman is original state. Jivatman is part of Paramatman. Jivatman is part of Paramatman. His identification with Paramatman is in direct proportion to the control of the senses he exercises. He is with the Paramatman the way in proportion to his controlling of the senses. As he controls more and more, he is more and more with Paramatman. That's what Bhagavan says in this. So he has described in this about Jivatman, how it comes into being and how it contacts with the Prakriti and gets stuck in this Manushya Loka, in this Loka. So this is what Bhagavan says here. So Manashashta. Here, Manas Ish is put here, but it is, I think, Ish will come. Sa, Sha, Sha, these three, even Visarga is followed by Shakara. So Manashashta, not Manashashta, Manashashta. Manashasthani Indriyani. So don't, this is, there is some error is here. Make it Sh. This only Sh. Manashasthani Indriyani. Prakritisthani karshati. We'll continue.
Padma Vishwanathan Bhagini.
Mamai vamsho jiva loke.
Mamaivamsho jivaloke. Mamaivamsho jivaloke.
Jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
Jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
Manashashtani indriyani.
Manashashtani indriyani. Manashashtani indriyani.
Prakritisthani karshati.
Prakritisthani karshati. Prakritisthani karshati.
Uttam.
Anita Bhagini.
Mamai vamsho jiva loke.
Anita Bhagini.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mame vansho jivaloka. Mame vansho jivaloka.
Jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
Jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
Manashasthani indriyani.
Manashasthani indrayani. Manashasthani indrayani.
Prakritisthani karshati.
Prakartisthani karshati. Prakartisthani karshati.
Uttam.
Nagamani Bhagini.
Mamai vamsho jiva loke. Jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhutas sanatanaha. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhutas sanatanaha.
Manashasthani indriyani. Prakritisthani karshati.
Manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Manashasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati.
Uttam.
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Padma Jagan Bhagini.
Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha.
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः
Manashashthani prakrtisthani karshati.
मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति
Uttam.
Kholap Mahodaya.
Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati.
Mamayvamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha manashashthani prakrutisthani karshati.
Uttam.
धन्यवाद सर.
Lakshmi HS Bhagini.
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति
Uttam.
Lakshmi Kiran Bhagini.
ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति
Uttam. Good. Next sloka. So how does Jivatman is actually a portion of Paramatman only. So how does it assume upadhis, the limitations? How does it assume the limitations? How does it get those limitations? Sharirayata vapnoti, sharirayata vapnoti, yachapyutkramatishvaraha, yachapyutkramatishvaraha, grihitvaitani sayyati, sayyati, grihitvaitani sayyati, vayurgandhani vashayat. So here, when the Lord acquires a body, and when he leaves it, he acquires a body and he leaves it, he takes these and departs like the wind takes the odors from their seeds. He leaves it, he leaves the body, he takes these, that is, these means here this subtle body, that is the mind and the senses, and departs like the wind takes odors from their seeds. So what he says earlier, we saw the individual soul, the jiva, wants to interact with Prakriti in order to exhaust its desires. So for that purpose, it surrounds itself with the mind, which contains desires, and the five senses. This collection of the jiva, the mind and the senses, is known as the subtle body. So because it is invisible, subtle body is invisible to us, so we call it a subtle Sukshma Shariram, we call it. Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, like that. So subtle body needs a physical body to express itself. So whenever the time span of one human body ends, the subtle body has to find another physical body to continue exhausting its desires. Its mind is still having desires, it has to exhaust its desires, so it will search for another body once it has departed from one body. So Sri Krishna says that in such a situation, the subtle body, the jiva with the mind and the senses, ejects itself from the physical body and finds another body to settle in. When the body which is destroyed, it goes and settles in another body. Imagine a box with strong perfume in it. If it is opened, fragrance will start leaving the box. So this analogy is used to explain the transfer of the jiva from one physical body to another. That means it leaves, that is, Jivatman spreads out his senses, mind and his ubhadis when he takes birth in one place. He withdraws them at death only to project them again in another birth. He takes everything to another Janma, and he takes everything, this Jiva and all the subtle body, he takes them to another body. So this is what is happening, how the Jivatman is continuing to persist or continue to exist in this loka. It has not fulfilled its desires, so it has to complete its desires before departing forever. We'll continue.
Vatsala Bhagini.
Sharirayatavapnoti.
शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति
यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति
गृहीत्वैतानि शय्याति
वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् उत्तम.
Varalakshmi Ramesh Bhagini.
शरीरय्यतवाप्नोति
शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति
यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति
वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् उत्तम.
Thank you.
Pushpa Bhagini.
शरीरय्यतवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्.
उत्तम.
धन्यवाद महोदय.
Anasuya Bhagini.
शरीरय्यतवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्
गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्.
उत्तम.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
Sapna Bhagini.
शरीरय्यतवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्
शरीरैर्यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्.
उत्तम.
Meenakshi Bhagini.
शरीरय्यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्.
उत्तम.
Illavarasi Bhagini.
शरीरैयतवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामदीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्.
Uttama. I will chant these slokas. न रूपमस्येक तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरयतवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्. Samapayamah. I will conclude with the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. धन्यवादः. पुनर्मिलामः. राम राम राम.